The attractiveness of freedom, and why freedom looks so attractive to people who have it and keeping it. The devil made freedom not look attractive. A lot of people say that God put uh, disasters in the world. Sometimes when he decided to wipe out the whole civilization, yeah, he do those things. But a lot of the disasters are what they call man-made diseases and man-made disasters. The devil made freedom not look attractive. Freedom is attractive. Living a life of luxury, diamonds, money, gold, houses, women, cars, a career, family, friends, a power, talent, and can showcase it to the world and look great and look good. Yeah, Satan create droughts and disasters in the world. He makes poverty. He creates poverty. Why he creates these droughts and this poverty, he tries to make it look like he's not really creating poverty and droughts, but it isn't in fact what the devil is doing. That's what he's doing. Trying to make freedom not look attractive. And the disease, the reason he does it is because of the same thing that Jesus said it was. It was his leprosy. See, his leprosy, when people have to study their ancestors and they have to study their roots or their family names, and he finds out that no matter where he traces his history back to, it gonna chase back to something called leprosy in Leviticus 13 in the Bible, when the black skin became white skin. And every time he looks into the mirror to see a reflection of the truth is, the aboriginal is the only truth. So even though he might try to go off and create his own echelon of Greek gods and Roman gods, it's still false. It's no more than a child trying to create a history outside of their parents. Like, say for instance, my parents were priests and doctors and Navy SEALs, mom's a nurse, other people are in some form of God or government or international business with my friends. Then it creates the to want to reinvent the wheel, but nature ain't made a mistake. You're making the mistake. You're making the mistake of denying your origin from what they call blood type O. It's only 4 O, A, B, B, and A. Anybody with diabetes or at a sperm bank, blood bank, they would know that. So it creates this leprosy disease, what Jesus was saying, and basically it's the jealousy, the bitterness, right? Now, some women, they really don't mind knowing what their roots or their history or their ancestors are. It doesn't bother them. But for Satan, right, and people with devilish minds, right, these impure, dirty souls. The difference between a person with a dirty soul, regardless of the devil or a mockery of justice or that he tries to present to the world, he still can't mock the truth, which is all come from the aboriginals. And the aboriginals, they trace their history back to the Moon, Mountain, Orion's constellation. Say they came from stardust, what they call not the Pleiades or solar system, but star what they call it, star seeds. I think it's star seeds. Yeah, star seeds. So now he knows that's his origin. So what he goes around is these lepers, right? And some black people become what they call spiritual lepers. What is a spiritual leper? A spiritual leper is a person that also wants to deny their origin. Even though they may be black, they'll deny the fact that they come from aboriginals. By blood type, O positive, why the Pharaoh, what the little short, what they call the Pima people. So he goes in the world, mad about their leprosy, and these spiritual lepers, trying to appear as if they're actually helping something when they are in fact creating man-made diseases and man-made disasters. Well, God wrote the covenant in the Bible. It still stands today, because this is another thing that they wanted to do. They wanted to change the fact. They said, well, like, people teach about Moorish empires. They teach about the Egyptian dynasties. There were 30 dynasties for over 3,000 years. That's longer than the 2,000 years that we currently been active, you hear me, in the Anno Domini period. What they call before the current era. Either or. See, the lie that they were telling was, oh, well, these inventions just came about. No, not only have these inventions always existed, because there's something they were studying at that Panama Canal down there in Florida, what they used to call the Zeitgeist Venus Project, where basically they were trying to take the resources out the United States of America without letting the Aboriginals know all the resources that grow from our sexual activity, what they call climate change biodiversity, which is breeding, and you can diversify a portfolio on all the resources that come with it, especially if in a gray market 60-40 splits Black's Law Dictionary. So there are diamonds coming out to go. Just 500 years ago, they come to America. They said, man, this is the Garden of Eden here. There's resources constantly going because we have natural sex act, and we have those good vibes. We're like good people. So Satan would see all of this success going on, and what he would try to do, he would try to make a mockery of the justice, make fake alliances with us, right? And basically be literally undermining. When I say undermining, like, these people, like those sanitation workers, they know about the resources that grow in the ground that they try to ship out the country, and then sell it back to us like they the ones popping. Like, how did you get all these resources in a country where there's nothing but snow? How do you have all these resources in a country where there's nothing but deserts? Because you stole them out the country and solely tried to sell it back to us. What they call taxation without representation. So it's not really the fact that we have these food stamp systems, or you see people giving these people these diamond chains and jewelry, or access to these cars and these Section 8 vouchers, what they call 40 acres in a mirror. That's because they know we are directly responsible, you hear me, for the resource that grow out the ground. That treasury system would have existed before the 13th, 14th Amendment, because they already knew that anyway. They can't do it. That's why they make those movies like the Mel Gibson one. When they try to do it, it looks primitive. And what's the movie Mel Gibson had? They were chopping people's heads off when they was doing that sundial worship at that temple, and they couldn't get the crops to grow or the resources growing. Those rain men. Like I said, a strip club is a mockery of the truth about it, making it rain. You hear me? And a woman is dancing, like doing her spiritual dance, and all of a sudden, right, it starts to rain, and the cash crops start growing, right? Even the gentleman club, to a certain degree, is a mockery of the truth of what Aboriginal Indian chiefs would do, or what we call a pharaoh, because it's more than just an Indian chief, but they try to make it look primitive. That's why I say, if you look at the Suez Canal, we already had electricity, because like when I was 5 years old, I went to something called the Tennessee Valley Authority, and they had this Chucalissa village, which is an Indian village, which is directly connected to the activities that go on at the electrical power plants, at the nuclear power plants. Because they said all this stuff these people are doing at this village, in this Indian village, is directly responsible for the resources that these Homer Simpson damn fools, you hear me, are trying to cultivate illegally, and then try to pretend they're doing you a favor. Keep in mind, when I show those posts like with Grant Cardone, this is before a rap album, before I ever wanted to make a movie. I already had these connections, you hear me, way before I ever sung a song. 2013, I ain't had no rap song, you hear me, since I got out of high school. So money and power is not new to me, it's new to you. If I never had a rap song, I still had that type of stuff going on. We were already millionaires, you hear me, before I had a record company, you hear me, that has nothing to do with it. So what Satan likes to do, he likes to make freedom unattractive. Having sex with a woman, right? You heard me. It's not really the fact that R. Kelly and P. Diddy are ashamed. That's the lepers, jealous of his origin, attempting to make things that are natural look unattractive. Because he's unattractive. See, in the Garden of Eden, it's a peaceful place. It's a peaceful place, the Garden of Eden. So, a gentleman club is a peaceful place. A church is a peaceful place. A school is a peaceful place. So what people need to start really paying attention to is, who are the people that's coming to these churches, these schools, and these businesses trying to make it look unattractive? Is it a man on fire inside job? Is it the very people that's creating the drought and the poverty and the disease? The same people that's around here asking for funding. Because they like to do what's called making freedom look unattractive. They see a man and a woman in a romantic relationship, Satan, which is true, it's homosexual. Because that's where the unnaturalist, you hear me, starts to come in. Remember, you know how they say something in Hollywood, to be a natural, they just know how to do it, these people. Their unnatural sex acts let them know they're not natural at anything, let alone a natural person that's tied into the spirituality of the universe. Because you do unnatural sex acts. Like they say, Title 18, Treason, Conspiracy, United States Code, Romans in the Bible, right? You hear him. Those unnatural things you're doing, you should be dead for that. That's God speaking. And they say, how else would God judge the world? That's how he was going to judge it. Off your unnatural sex acts. That's what God is judging. A lot of people wonder what God's judgment is. You hear me? Read it. It literally tell you that. They said, God forbid if he can't be God. So they say this in Romans. They say this in the time of Melchizedek. Remember, they said Abraham was paying Melchizedek. So if Abraham is your patriarch or your father, who is the black nigga? You hear me? That's the opposite of a Jesus Christ. You hear me? That's collecting the money. Who is the actual boss in that situation? The tax collector. As Jesus would say, the tax collector and the prostitutes have a better chance, you hear me, getting to the kingdom of heaven before any of you do. So for one, everybody ain't the tax collector on planet Earth at the same time. So you're lying. There's only one. Just like there's only one president at a time. So, and you can't be with me naturally, as Jesus Christ will say that, because those bride price women or the prostitute Mary will later on become like the Virgin Mary. No, the prostitute of Babylon Mary type chicks will become the Virgin Mary, what they call the economics of dowry and bride price. They would when it's documented that he Hebrews or crosses over, that means he left from a homosexual bride price paying nation to a dowry nation called what? Egypt. It's documented in world history. So before you get to Isaac, Jacob, that was the war. That was the action. That's called the First World War. What they call the Treaty of Kadush, the first peace treaty on planet Earth. What they call the Great Treaty. Show us America great. That's the treaty. So every time you think about peace in the world, there's no homosexuality that could be included in it. The day you think that, that's an act of war. That's the truth about it. Because we know that what that does, that brings poverty, droughts, diseases, and disasters, and man-made disasters. Trying to make freedom look unattractive. And freedom is very attractive. Like a lot of times, like when they made those entrapment laws, right? It wasn't the fact black people were committing crimes. The leper that was suffering from trying to figure out why his skin is white and a man is black, and his jealousy keep kicking in when he keep trying to trace his origin. It don't trace to a Greek god. It don't trace back to a Roman god. Even if you trace it back to Jesus, they say God is black, but that's just his light-skinned son. Born on March 25th, right? You hear him. This is literally what the book say, the spring equinox. But the origin is still black. Now we can get a little deep into the Jonah Ark conversation about it when the name is not Jesus, it's Yeshua, and that's a woman name. So was it a white man standing up to save those people? Because remember, they call that Jesus Christ stuff the homo creed. By the Coptic Egyptians, they call it a homo creed. Because that's actually a woman. Because truth be told, you ain't never seen a white man that'll stand up, you hear me, to cleanse lepers, right? You hear me, to tell white people to stop being jealous of black people. Where are the white man on planet Earth that's cleansing lepers, that telling white people to stop being jealous of their origin from their leprosy of black people? That person don't exist. A lot of people say you want to be Christ-like. You're not Christ-like. You're an evil bastard. There's nothing Christ-like about you. Christ came to cleanse the lepers. What is a leper? A white person that can't understand why their origin is from black people that got a fucked up mental health disease and a hormone imbalance. His mind fucked up. Yeah, so when I see a white man, they can say, hey, now, do white men do private contracts with successful Negroes? Yeah, they call that the NBA or hip-hop industry, BET or something. Now, when it's tied directly into those council of treason charges, right, you hear me, and royal families, that's Amsterdam, red light district. But all these things are legal. Remember, freedom is attractive. Having money is attractive. Good-looking women are attractive. Having a career, owning businesses is attractive. Having access to millions and billions of dollars, that's attractive. But the leper wants to create drought, disease, and poverty where freedom is found. See, that's the whole thing. Like, a lot of stuff they do, because not only do it lead to just those acts, it leads to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre pedophilia. The Jeffrey Dahmer behavior. That's what it leads to. Next thing you know, his mind gets so crazy, he beating his wife. He putting on high heel shoes and shit. He started mutating. The Frankenstein with the bride of Frankenstein. Now he's a monster. All because he don't understand the origin of his leprosy, or why his skin is white, and he know his original skin color is black. It literally say this shit in the Bible. All this shit is documented. Just like, say for instance, you could be black, but one of your family members is an albino. Yeah, there could be a little dog. Some of them come out white. You 101 Dalmatian dummies. Can a leopard change his spots? But what they were saying, when he was cleansing the lepers, what did he basically doing? Saying, stop being jealous because of black people. And you black people, you spiritual lepers, stop being jealous of your origin too. Something is wrong with you. Something is wrong with your mind. Because that jealousy of leprosy leads to you want to create poverty and drought, where poverty and drought don't exist. Like, even in the movie Star Wars, which is the actual King Tut story, that's what they were saying that Luke Skywalker and that girl were doing. They said they wanted to make their father like that ruled the galaxy, which is a black man, James Earl Jones. They still want to turn, the leper still, his jealousy kicked in then. He said, I know what James Earl Jones talking about. I want this to be a white man. I know in the movie The Mummy that King Tut is black. We seen the statue, but I want to make it a white man. So that jealousy, that leprosy that builds up in him makes him start committing most satanic crimes, creating diseases, disasters, and droughts. And he started deceiving people. He deceived so many people, he started to deceive himself. Sometimes you can tell so many lies, you get caught up in that lie, and you die in your sin, what they call in Black's Law Dictionary, sin die, drop dead. You hear me? That's what's happening to them out here. They killed themselves. See, the real word of dementia is an official denial of the truth. That's the actual disease called dementia, demon. Origin of the word, a demon. A demon in the Oxford English Dictionary, what they call dementia, is a person that officially is lying, denying the truth. Due to photosynthesis, aboriginals have everything to do with why resources grow in the ground. Your light skin, whether you what they say, you can't change the fact a cat is a cat, a dog is a dog, you hear me, a rat is a rat, you hear me, a Mac is a Mac. You can't change that. So you know that's why your country is full of snow that you originally came from in the desert. That's why you're desperate to be around black people. And then it gets so bad to the point where you say, well, not only that, I'm gonna lie about the origin that my skin color is really from black people, called leprosy. I'm gonna steal the resources out the ground and try to sell them back to the same people that's creating them. What they call the general theory of relativity, falsely represented in eugenics, which should have been not been eugenics, a Dendera zodiac. That's reserved for one man, not a whole bunch of men trying to control social interactions. And then become communist thing because they trying to control social interactions by creating poverty and drought around it, and then become communist saying just because we live here, keep in mind this is Aboriginal land. You know why that your country don't have no but snow in deserts? It's matter of fact, 1871, Morris B. Jansen, the professor that put together the Iroquois embassy records at the Mayfair, and the people was trying to make a treaty with the Asian people, and the Asian people said we can't make a treaty with you white people because y'all ain't responsible for why these crops grow in the ground. They went all over the country, the Japanese people, all over the world, and said the only place where resources are growing where these Aborigines are doing something called 9 marital services, not 5 elements. So they try to collect benefits, homosexual, which actually makes, see, homosexuality ends, it becomes an Egypt. Yeah, well, ain't none standing but the chip pyramid of the 4th dynasty, what they call the John Maccabees Hanukkah story. Those are the same people. They say Chip, John Maccabees, what they call the Christmas story, Hanukkah, sometimes Esther Purim. Though the John Maccabees nigga, you hear me, and Chip are the same people with this birthday. Now you can make a fool of yourself if you want to. You hear me? These books been around for thousands of years, fool. These peace treaties are not biblical writings, you hear me? These are actual international business records documented and recontinued throughout history, not just during the time of Melchizedek, during the time of King Tut and Ramses, the same treaty. Time of John Maccabee, same treaty. Time of Emperor Nero, our cheapest minister, the same treaty. So you need some treatment because, like I said, these are man-made diseases. Man-made poverty, man-made droughts, you hear me? You created the problems, you hear me? You're pretending to fix. You created it. Because you're a leper, you're still jealous of the fact that your skin is white and it can't become black, and there's no Jesus Christ cleansing lepers no more because white people lost their goddamn mind out here. Can't nobody fix. That's the serenity prayer. I can't change the fact that a dog is a dog and a cat is a cat and a rat is a rat. You hear? I can't change that. Get over it. Intelligent people understand that. Dummies don't. So dummies have to do something called work, get a job. You hear me? That's what they have to do for being stupid. And they end up working for the people who do understand it. And if you commit fraud pretending you understand it upon a question or a challenge, your business is what they call acquiesce acquisition because you know you're lying. And like I said, this is where these diseases called AIDS and STDs, because these people with these fucked up leprosy minds that create poverty and drought will start to have sex with some of these women. Now the women have leprosy minds of poverty and drought. They downloaded your dick in data of stupidity. Women, but the thing about women, they can actually come on the cycle, cleanse themselves of your toxicity. But what you keep doing is you keep poisoning them hoes with your stupidity. See, a woman gonna naturally cleanse her body anyway and mind every 30 days, naturally. That's her, because of her sin in the Garden of Eden. God made it like that, to remind her to stop listening to stupidity. And when she stopped listening to stupidity, she will start to birth a new conscience. But it's hard for her to birth a new conscience if she constantly being poisoned with a disease called leprosy of stupidity. So It's predicted in science that if I was to ever win a petition for a writ of habeas corpus and a writ of mandamus, astronomically speaking, within 9 months, could be 30 days, could be less, women would eventually cleanse, come on their cycles, and they would be cleansed of the STDs they had. Body's a self-cleansing organism, like a cat can clean itself. But the men can't, and that's the truth about it. They can't. You ever heard of saying you can't teach old dogs new tricks? You can't. Women have the ability to clean. That's why the treaty is made like that, for a man and several women. What they call the land of milk and honey, breeding. There are no men. That's like the actual business model of that. It look like the Playboy Mansion. That's what it looked like. But he couldn't fuck the women. He was still a leper himself. So he would use the money that he was making from it to hire out people to get the money. There are only 3 white men that figured it out: Larry Flint, Hugh Hefner, and Donald Trump. That's why Donald Trump had Miss Universe. He still know he can't do the breeding practices. He not incompetent. He know that. That's why he wouldn't mind spending billions of dollars with a black person, because he know that it's the right thing to do. Because he know from that hip-hop activity, what they call in science, the Pharaoh's language, the phonetic alphabet, what they call English today, is called hip-hop, heru, hip-hop, hooray. They know that. So we do our hip-hop, heru, hip-hop, hooray, same way we be at the club, having fun, partying. We do it naturally. Nobody had to bribe us to do it. We do it anyway. Keep in mind, when you read these Egyptian texts, they say they drinking beer, liquor, smoking weed, partying, dancing, breeding with women, and staying away from people that create poverty and drought and diseases. What they call homosexuals. So the leper, right, you hear me, due to the fact that he can't wrap his brain around his jealousy because he know his skin was white and it used to be black, and he want to lie and create his own truth. And it's still gonna be a lie, and the only person he gonna end up deceiving in the end is himself. And whoever woman he has sex with and download that sexually transmitted disease called stupidity into her. But women naturally cleanse themselves on their cycle, and once they fully cleanse, they can birth a new consciousness within 9 months, once they clean again. Women like cats. Remember, Eve isn't actually affected by Satan. She can just be distracted by Satan. But she cleanses herself. That's why we never lost our connection, our love connection. And Satan hated it. He hated it. He can't never get over it. That's why they in the Foreign Affairs manual say heterogeneous programs cannot work with homosexual programs. Those homosexual programs are void. Council of Trent, those treason acts, right? You heard that's void. Abolished. That is an abolitionist movement. Getting rid of homosexuality, what they call the Black Plague. The 21st version, COVID. That's where it came from. That's why Johnson & Johnson is accredited for curing COVID. What is Johnson & Johnson? A baby lotion. Because that's the answer to the sickness and the disease called homosexuality. It's a disease. It's always been a disease. Even in psychiatry, homosexuality has always been a disease. They put some corrupt politicians trying to slow up money in office and tried to make the disease occur and to cure the disease and deceive the world. And all type of wars broke out that we saw. Created the peace treaties. So they got jealous of the wars we saw around the world and decided to do terrorist activity right here in America. And that shit got shut down. It's a thing in law called, the Supreme Court is looking at this week, called stop, stir, decease. Stop, stir, decease means when a person wins a case, stop staring at them about the decision that was made because they won because you jealous. You ever heard say with prejudice, without prejudice, all those play on words in court? Because they like, stop staring at the people, just stop staring at them because of the decision that was made. You lost, get over it. You know, unsportsmanship like conduct around here, foul behavior. Then you say, so what is the purpose of defunding and deportation in these torture places? Because some people's mind is fucked up to the point where you have to down there box them and strangle them. To make them stop staring at you because of that jealousy from their leprosy of the decision that was made, that shit is fraud. You hear me? It's fraud. You hear me? You committing crimes, you burning down your houses and asking for some insurance money. That's fraud. That's what that is. And you can't justify fraud. Because fraud creates something called corruption. What is corruption? Slows up the flow. Back to the Suez Canal. Women can bring water to help with a drought. You a man, you ain't got no damn water in the drought, because if that sex shit you talking about, why it don't work in your country? You're lying. And you know you're lying. Because of the leprosy disease you suffering from. About why your white skin ain't black, so you jealous of black people. Because so you try to make fake gods and fake Greek Roman gods. And like I said, even when you claim Jesus, that's a woman name. Anybody that speak Aramaic, like sometimes I like to mess with Jewish girls to see if they really speak Jewish. I say, do you know what a zavugam is? That's a sexual union between a man and a woman, right? That's the whole bar mitzvah shit. That's what it's about. They say the only problem is the same problem. Gay people. Show me a religion where it don't say homosexuality ain't the problem. Homosexuality leads to stalking, it leads to rapes, pedophilia, all harassment, molesting people. That's what gay people do. They stalk people, harass people, molest people, and pedophile children. And it's all documented. All because your skin is white and you suffering from a disease that Jesus called leprosy. You see black people doing better than you and you get jealous. And you start creating poverty and drought. You doing insurance fraud. You commit a crime, you hear me, or burn your house down, then try to ask for some funding. It's not happening. Never, ever, never happening. Because you around here, you burning shit down, you creating poverty and diseases, and asking for some funding. Ain't nobody giving you shit. Nothing. Who is funding stalkers in 2025? Nobody. Yeah. We're not funding stalking anymore. We're not funding harassment anymore. We're not funding molesters and pedophiles anymore. No more funding, you hear me, for stalkers, you hear me. No more funding for white people suffering from a disease called leprosy. You hear me? That's jealous of their black origin. No more funding for that. Now, if you got a product or a service you can sell, go sell it. Obviously, you ain't got shit. Like I said, a lot of people don't realize the power of business owners. What is the power of being a business owner? That means at any given time when you feel like it, you can go to the table and ask for a few $1 million or a few $1 billion. You don't understand why these people are sick because their companies have been defunded. That means you no longer have access to millions and billions of dollars. Here's the key the students need to look at, right? About the beauty of freedom. People with businesses can still have legal businesses that never got caught up in homosexual DEI program can still access millions and billions of dollars. And this is the truth. And this is the jealousy of the lepers. So they try to make freedom look unattractive because they're the ones defunded, not me. I'm not defunded. I'm not a scandal. A joint venture is between a man and a woman, so I have a sole proprietorship. I have no desire due to the fact that I understand economics and portfolios to do business with a man. It's not, the way business is designed, it don't work. You can't do business with a man. You can do from a sole proprietorship to a mom and pop store, but sometimes that corporation, you hear me, can be invaded or by gay cops living by a homo creed, as Professor Walter Williams would say, and corrupt your business. Start making decisions about shit that they don't even understand. So no, we would never do nothing like this. So due to the fact that it's a sole proprietorship, can I still help my family and friends? Yeah, everybody does. A rapper that got money can help his family and friends. A ball player, but y'all, like I said, you try to create this poverty, these diseases and droughts, and make the black ones spiritual lepers where they start to hate their black origin. Like I said, the devil created poverty, drought, disease, and man-made disasters. God didn't. God created Garden of Eden. Only thing God will do is on some Silver Surfer Galactic stuff, just bust everybody and get rid of that civilization. And that's basically what happened in California. He was like, well, fuck all of them. Your civilization is pretty much dead, whether you're aware of it or not. You will never receive funding again. Due to the fact you are still suffering from a disease called leprosy. Heard the problem, a lot of people think they can help lepers. Jesus couldn't even solve it. How you gonna solve it? I want a lot of black people to start thinking, Jesus couldn't teach white people how to stop being jealous of black people. Jesus couldn't even do it. So what made you think you can do it? I know I can't help a white person that's jealous of black people. I can't do nothing for him. Every time he look at his skin color and know the truth, because he get an education and find out Santa Claus is black, it drives him insane. Then he gonna have sex with women and they adopt that leprosy disease, a sexually transmitted disease, and then try to give it to you. And we're saying no. We're saying no to spiritual lepers and other lepers. And I'm saying no, we can't fix it neither, because Jesus couldn't even fix it. So we stick with the order of Melchizedek, as they say in the book of Hebrews, not the Jesus elementary school. But no, we're going to stand on business, we're going to handle our business, you hear me? And we're going to keep fucking these hoes till we nut, and we're going to finish, you hear me? And we're going to make as many millions and billions whenever we feel like it, not when you feel like it, because you still can't even do it. You don't have no money coming no time soon. Besides a prodigal servant, the prodigal servant you out here selling, ain't nobody buying that shit. Hip-hop still selling. The ball game still selling. You know, like I said, a lot of you people, you hear me, they became informers. That's a form of spiritual leprosy. That was a form of spiritual leprosy. Now, is there a repentance process? Yeah, but you'll never find it with that fucked up mindset. Yeah, and it's still through a woman. It still won't be through me. Love, peace, and hair grease. I'm out.